Here we go. Good morning. I'm evil. I'm Ice Cold Tip, and I've come to make a public announcement. After being brutally kidnapped by the transfem GGST Yakuza and forced to watch nothing but Sajam and Gecko Squirrel videos, I've recently escaped by making a bomb out of my own feces, absolute Batman style. And now, I'm here. This traumatic event has caused my brain to fracture, giving me essentially PTSD, where I am in a constant state of flight or fight, and retarded shit about fighting games now puts me into a frenzy, where I can't control myself and I have to, in turn, say retarded shit on the internet. It's a really debilitating case called being terminally online and not having a real hobby other than playing video games and being terminally online. We live in a very treacherous time where we have unlimited fighting games, more people than ever playing fighting games, but no fighting games, none at all. They're an illusion, they're fake, they only exist within your mind. And the fakest one that isn't real and doesn't exist, and my personal favorite, is Tekken 8. It's not real, it doesn't exist. I've blocked it out of my memory. And it is a traumatic experience that I don't want to go over. But I remember before the game released, there was a lot of hype around it. Of course, it's a new game, of course! And it looked good from the 2 seconds that we were able to see of Kazuya's really moist rendered face. And it's very funny looking back at all of that now that we're almost exactly 2 years in on the release of Tekken 8 and the absolute train wreck that it's been. You've had a lot of players flat out dropping the game. This is a bit anecdotal, but even at my local, they don't run Tekken 8 anymore because nobody shows up or wants to play, especially after the horror that was the Season 2 patch. That essentially proved that none of the issues that people had with the game were going to get fixed, and that they don't give a shit, and clearly that this is intentional, and Murray's butthole is here to stay on the back of Tekken 8 for the remainder of ever. And before the game ever even got released, before they even showed off the new heat mechanic, they explained it. One of the very first things I remember of Tekken 8 upon its release was an article that was dropped from, I believe, IGN. And this was one of just like the story of the week kind of thing, because it's the first real news we had about this game, and pretty much everybody looked over it. And I think now with the upcoming release of a character nobody gives a fuck about, I think it's very interesting to go back and look at this. Because this article, in retrospect, tells you everything that you need to know. And it was obvious the direction that Tekken was going to go before it even came out, especially with this article. Now, some people say that the issues with not just Tekken 8, but even Guilty Gear Strive, as well as Street Fighter 6, often boils down to oversimplification for a casual audience, trying to make the game easier, inflating the rank system, so everybody feels like winners or whatever the fuck. Some grumpus, angry boomer might say such a thing, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that to be the case, truly, honestly, to my heart. I think the issue with these modern games is not that, but a bigger issue that infects a lot of other games too, that has ruined games like Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, and has come for the fighting game community, and has done so successfully. This article tells you everything that you need to know about Tekken before Tekken ever released, and it has a lot of concerning things. Heat up, be aggressive. The key word to relay the concept for the battle system is aggressiveness, Harada says. This is something we've focused on in all the various elements of gameplay. Fighting games are kind of interesting genre, because it's you and another human opponent in most cases, right? Say if somehow you're both able to block 100% of attacks, then the match itself wouldn't progress, because nobody would do damage. The changes in Tekken 8 come from the team thinking about how they would go about making the game exciting to both play and watch. And this is the most important part, to play and to watch. It's not just important that a game be fun for the person playing it, it has to look fun to play. It has to look fun to play, to captivate and bring in new people. This, I believe, is the core design philosophy behind not just Tekken 8, but as I've said, Street Fighter 6, as well as Guilty Gear Strive, and a lot of modern games. I believe that we live in a very strange era where video games are not designed to be played. You are not designed to play these games, you're designed to watch them. Because I've seen, just from personal experience, a lot of games go down the same route. And always the first red flag I always see within every single game that crashes and burns and dies within a couple years, or at least has the community hemorrhage themselves a little bit until a lot of old fans quit, is the first thing that always starts and is always the beginning of the end, is whenever they start talking about aggressive, faster gameplay, as well as esports. These are the biggest things and the biggest red flags. And the moment I saw this article, I knew that this game was going to be a fucking train wreck, because I've heard this same kind of line before. Things like Overwatch's Overwatch League that was propagated a lot, with them trying to make a massive esports scene and trying to get a return on their investment and advertising that everywhere. And of course, that is a massive train wreck, and anybody who knows anything about esports knows that it's a big fucking money hole. It's a waste of time. So of course they want to make the game entertaining to watch, and to do that they wanted to make the game faster, more aggressive. They started nerfing shields, they started nerfing CC, they started nerfing defensive mechanics about the game, until the point where it basically became super dive centric and absolutely just raped the whole thing. R6 was a similar thing, where what Ubisoft gave a shit about the most was their competitive esports scene and trying to make that more entertaining to watch. And all else goes out the window. But a lot of these companies will say, esports. It's all about esports. It's always about esports. And that's always the first thing they say. But I don't think it's about esports. I think it's about something far more concerning, which is streamers. There is no better marketing for a video game than affiliate marketers. People that are variety streamers, or however you want to put it, do not play video games for their own enjoyment, or not to understand them, or to play them for a long time. Their relationship with video games is purely monetary, purely transactional. They don't give a fuck about these games at all. They don't give a fuck about these games at all. Yet they carry far more weight than somebody who's going to play this game for their entirety of their life. These people, out of necessity, need to constantly keep switching from game to game to game, playing whatever the next new hottest thing is. And we live in this really weird era of gaming as a whole and, internet shit, where there's every month, it feels like, every month, there's this game that comes out that is the new, greatest game ever made. And you've got to play it, dude. You've got to play it or you're missing out. And it's the biggest fucking thing that has ever existed since the last biggest fucking thing since last month. And every big streamer and every person and their mother is playing this game. And then the next month, silence. Nobody cares. No one gives a shit about the greatest game ever fucking made this month or whatever, because it's all fake. It's all inflated. It's all just what everybody else is doing at the time, and it's just a big trendy thing. And the goal is for these games to, of course, Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever, to be one of those games, to be the game of the month, the game of the week. Someone like Moist Critical playing Tekken for one day is millions of times more important than someone like Kwis, JDCR, Nee, the main man, or whoever. Insert favorite Tekken streamer here playing this game for their entire fucking life. That's just the harsh reality. So of course you want those people, and you want a bunch of those people. You need the most colorful, flashy game that appeals to the most amount of people possible, that you're meant to only play for no more than 10 hours. No more than 10 hours. If you start playing the game anymore, whoa, calm down, buddy. You're sucking all the enjoyment out of that. You're not allowed to play this game any more than this. It's all about trying to make every single game, every single match, nothing but hype moments and aura, where combos do fucking 80, 70% fucking health and big splashy effects. And I mean, you see this all over the gaming industry, but games have become far more oversaturated than they've ever been. And I mean oversaturated not in market, but in the sense of color scheming and brightness with VFX and splash effects. And this article says all of it right here. You're not meant to play the game. You're meant to watch it. A lot of high-level gameplay, unless you can basically play at that level. So things like Tekken, Street Fighter, and whatnot, and even other esports of FPS genres or hero shooters or whatever, unless you can play at that level, I really can't see you getting any enjoyment or value out of it. Playing neutral, playing footsies and whatnot, there being space between, both players, there being space between both players or teams. And to the average person, if nobody's being shot at, or nobody is taking damage or getting hit or blocking, then nothing is happening. Nothing at all is happening. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's all just a streamer-built economy or whatever the fuck, and that's all they're looking for, but that's definitely a big part of it. But esports does matter too. But I think a lot of it is also the streamer-captured audience. And I think really the end goal of this game and what they were trying to do with it is making a game that looked like... is, those choreographed Tekken videos? They get like millions of views, and certainly no fucking esports clip or no people actually playing Tekken gets millions of views. those choreographed videos they're kind of cool, right? You see both the characters, they're using all of this movement and stuff like that, but it's fake. No real match looks like this. If a real match looked like that, it would be fucking eye cancer. But once again, a lot of people really like that. And some people even come in with the misconception that that's what Tekken is, and that's what high-level Tekken looks like. It's all this fucking movement and boom, boom, and then, you know, dodging and shit like that. But that's not. And I think that really is the end goal of the game, where blocking is essentially not an option, because blocking looks lame. Blocking looks boring. They don't want that. It literally says it right here in this article. We felt that the person attacking should be really enjoying the gameplay and enjoying themselves, and to feel like they're at advantage and that they have a better chance to win if they go on the offensive rather than turning up. They want more aggressive gameplay. They want there to always be something happening on screen, because neutral means nothing is happening to the average fucking retard. And we see this with, of course, a lot of Tekken 8's new designs with all kinds of cool new gimmicks and gadgets, and it's got a fucking rocket launcher, and you don't know an Armor King is doing flips and shit while shooting fire out of his mouth. And they basically want to turn the game into, well, moron combat, for lack of a better term, where a character like Nina, for example, is not known for her gameplay, for her butterfly loops or sidestep one cancel or anything like that, but she is instead now known as the chick with the guns. She's the chick with the big boobies and the big guns, and she shoots you. That's what she does. That's her character. If I ever had to explain Nina to you, I would explain to you as she has tits and guns. That's the level we're on. That's the level we are operating at. Something completely superficial, completely visual. And I think we see this as well with like updates like during the Season 2 patch. One of the big changes that people fucking despised was that when you go in and tech throws, you take Gray Life for teching the throw. Of course, it's obvious what they want from it, especially since a lot of the throws in that game they made not being able to sidestep. It's obvious what they want. They don't want you to tech the throws. They don't want you to play reactionary and defensive. They want you to duck it. They want you to take massive risks. They want the game to have stupid fucking risk reward where you have to do dumb shit all the fucking time and just throw your cock out without thinking and play super risky, because it's bad to play not risky. It's bad to play safe, because that's not entertaining for the people watching. And it's obvious where the direction of this was going to go for a long time. And anybody who knew anything about anything, I'm not going to sit here like, oh, I was the messiah, I just wasn't on YouTube or whatever, and I didn't tell you. One, I did, but nobody cares. Two, everybody did. Anybody who knew anything about anything knew that this was the direction that Tekken was going. It was obvious from the get-go. And it became more clear and more obvious when the Season 2 patch came out. Anybody defending this game or defending any of it is just blatantly lying. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. They say it right here. This game is not meant to be played. You're meant to watch it, play it for 5 hours, jerk off to Lily and all the skins on the Battle Pass, and then go the fuck away. It's not just about esports and people who are interested in the scene. It's about making the game interesting to watch and to experience as a whole, whether that's against a human opponent or you're just playing against the CPU. Anyway, that's about it. I'm gonna fuck up out of here.